Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Tori and I create videos about minimalism and simple living, and I wanted to share some simple tips on low waste Christmas gift wrapping ideas. So I do not consider myself a zero waste person. I think that's an awesome thing to strive towards, and I'm in the process of making a lot of swaps in my life to be lower waste and be more sustainable and more eco-friendly. But zero waste isn't a label that I feel comfortable with. I feel like there's like zero waste police and there's all these rules about what you can do, and I just simply am trying to reduce my waste and reduce my environmental impact. And I've just really felt a big push toward reducing my waste, specifically in my gift wrapping this year. I love wrapping gifts. As a kid, I would like beg my mom or my grandparents to let me wrap all of the gifts. I love doing it. I love decorating it in ribbons and different papers. And honestly, I'm still kind of like that. I just think it's so fun. Excuse me, your nose is in the picture. I honestly like gift wrapping way more than I like actually purchasing gifts. I just love wrapping presents. So I know that the zero waste option for gift wrapping would be to just not wrap them because it's not a necessity, but that makes me so sad. I love wrapping gifts. And if you're here, I'm assuming that you're probably the same. You love having beautifully wrapped gifts, but maybe you're just aware of how much waste is created at Christmas time and you want to do something about that. So I'm going to share a few statistics with you before we get started. And I'm Canadian and these are going to reflect that, but just know that if you're American, which most of my viewers are American, these are very much the same in the US, probably worse because Canada actually does have pretty good recycling programs. But I read an article and it was someone who worked with the waste management and definitely knew what he was talking about, and he said that Canadians will throw away 100,000 elephants worth of wrapping paper alone this Christmas. 100,000 elephants of wrapping paper just in Canada. And when I read that, I felt like a huge pull towards just making little steps. And you guys know that I'm all about baby steps and just doing little things. And I strongly believe that those little things make a big difference. And I know it can be discouraging. You might feel that the changes that you make this Christmas aren't going to make a big difference, but that's definitely not true. Especially if you start making these changes, maybe your family and friends recognize what you're doing and maybe you inspire other people to make those changes. While one person's actions aren't going to change the world, you might inspire dozens of other people who are going to inspire dozens of other people, and that's how change happens in the world. So I am going to show you guys a few ways to wrap your gifts beautifully this Christmas while still being lower waste and being conscious of the amount of garbage that you're producing. But before I get started with that, I just want to mention, in the same article that I read about the 100,000 elephants worth of wrapping paper, he also mentioned the types of wrapping paper that are better to purchase. It's better to purchase anything that doesn't have texture or glitter, or even really bright colored papers can be really hard to recycle. So even if you nicely put your glittery textured paper in the recycling, there's a really good chance that that's going to still end up in a landfill. So it's a good idea to use like craft paper. I had the hardest time finding just plain brown craft paper this year, so hopefully that means a lot of other people have switched to that, because I literally could not find a single roll of it anywhere, which is why you're not going to see that in this video, but just know that that is the best wrapping option, but I just couldn't find it. And I also think that something that is really lost in the zero waste or low waste community is the idea to use up what you have. So if you have 10 rolls of wrapping paper sitting in your basement or your attic or wherever you store your wrapping paper, use that up before you go out and buy zero waste stuff, because the most wasteful thing you can do is throw something out without even using it. So if you have brightly colored or glittery paper, honestly, my personal opinion is to just use that up this year and then next year work towards finding something more sustainable. So that's what I did this year. I used up all of the extra wrapping paper that I had, and we really don't buy a lot of gifts. So the paper that you see here, I purchased I think 2 or 3 years ago, and we finally just finished the rest of it. So I'm going to try to avoid buying wrapping paper in the future and just using some of these other tips that I'm going to share with you.
So another tip to make your Christmas gifts more low waste is to use paper tape. This is often called washi tape, and this is a much more recyclable option, and I honestly didn't know this until just a few days ago. Like I said, I am learning with you, but this is a better option that's easier to recycle. So one option for zero waste Christmas gifts is to use pieces of cloth. So maybe you want to go to a thrift store and pick up some towels or a sheet that you can cut into pieces or some flannel shirt. Here you can see that I'm using a really cute Christmassy kitchen towel to wrap a gift. And this is fun because you can pick out a cute towel and then that can also be part of the gift. But you can pretty much use any fabric and then you can either tie the fabric in a knot. Mine wasn't quite long enough to tie the fabric in a knot, so I'm just using a piece of string to tie it up. Next, I'm using this paper bag, and this was given to me by someone. I was going to reuse it as a paper bag, but my dog wrecked it, so I decided to just trim off some of the ends, and this bag would have been garbage, like it was destroyed. So it's getting a second use out of it, and I'm just trimming it so that it'll fit, and I'm just going to use this just like I would with wrapping paper. And here you can see that I'm using that paper tape. And it's not super sticky, so I did end up using a piece of string, and that just helps to keep the present wrapped up so that the tape doesn't come undone. Newspaper is another really good option for wrapping your gifts because it's obviously just going to be thrown in the garbage or the recycling anyway, so giving it another life is a good idea, and then you can just embellish it with some ribbon or twine or just a little piece of greenery or something. So baked goods are one of my favorite things to give, especially to my neighbors, and I love to just get reusable tins. You could probably pick some of these up at a thrift store, or you can use ones that have been given to you in the past and just fill these up with baked goods, or you could even use these reusable tins for any other gift. Mason jars or any other type of reusable glass jars are another good option, especially if you have extra of these laying around your house like I often do. And you can just fill these up with cookies, or you could make like an Epsom salt bath or something like a hot chocolate mix or a cookie mix in the jar. And then when it comes to embellishing and ribbons, I like to use natural elements like natural colored yarns or twine, things that can be composted. And then this year I made my own little ornaments that can be used on my gifts. I did these dried oranges and these dried cinnamon ornaments. I have a whole separate video if you want to learn how to make those, but these look so cute on the gifts, as well as some little pieces of greenery. These are such a good option to make your gifts look extra cute without having to use plastic. And I also love to reuse ribbons, so if you're given ribbons on any gifts, or even if you're at a Christmas function and there's ribbons on other gifts that are going to go into the garbage, just grab those and you can reuse them next year.
Thank you guys so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you were inspired to maybe wrapping a few of your Christmas presents with zero waste options this year. And I hope you have a very Merry Christmas. I know that this video is going up really close to Christmas and I apologize, but I hope that you have such an awesome Christmas season with your family and friends this year. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in a few days with my next video.